Near. You have a certain. You're gonna cover a certain series that has been very hot on the radar recently. Do you want to tell us about it?
No.
Near,
Oh, God.
it's the season.
Is it? It's
Y-
November.
It's still November.
If you go shopping, you hear it near. It's there. You
Yeah,
see
That's
it.
true.
Mariah Carey songs have been blasting since like
That's true.
October.
Yeah. October 32nd. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, I watched Sanda, also known
Sanda,
as
yeah.
Sanda. Um, this is the Science Saru production
Yes,
of the season.
sir. Yes, sir.
Um, if you don't know, they made Dan Da Dan, amongst other
Mhm.
things. Yeah. More recently, they've done stuff like Heike Monogatari, which I covered, Yude Deko, which I also covered. Um,
Do you wanna also tell us
some
about
other stuff.
the original creator of Sanda?
Yeah,
This
so this is a
manga
manga
original, right?
original, done by um, what's her
Itagaki
name
Paru?
again? Yeah,
Itagaki Paru.
Itagaki Paru,
Uh-huh.
who is the author behind Beastars and
Yes,
is
sir.
also the daughter of Keisuke Itagaki, who is the author of Baki.
Hmm.
Um, so weird runs in the family, to say the least.
Yeah.
Um,
It's a dynastic hentai kind of
yeah,
a
yeah,
dynasty of a weird mangaka.
strange type family. But yeah, um, the I guess premise for this is it's pretty wild. There's a lot going on in this premise. But basically the idea, uh, to break it down into real basics, the main character, um, Kazushige Sanda, is a descendant of Santa Claus, and after meeting certain conditions, and um, mainly wearing red, he has the ability to transform into Santa Claus. Um,
Mhm.
How? Are we talking Henshin style or Digimon Beat Break style?
um, we're talking a big cloud of
Talking
smoke.
Hulk style.
Yeah, a big cloud of smoke poofs, and he becomes Santa Claus.
Hell yeah, that's
Um,
better then.
yeah, and Santa Claus in this world is a super fucking giga jacked old man, um, who's capable of sprouting blades that look like skis out of his feet, which is kind of gross. But yeah. So he turns into Santa Claus, and uh, he sort of makes a promise to the deuteragonist, Shiori Fuyumara, to look for a student that's gone missing recently and has been sort of kind of written off as dead. Um, and yeah, it's a shonen, um, and some not quite shonen things happen. It's not a battle
What do you mean by
shonen.
that?
Um, well, so this is a very, I mean, I guess I'll just get straight into the story because this is a very, um, I guess, sort of multifaceted coming of age story, right? Which,
Mhm.
most shonen stories are, right? Very coming of age story kind of things. But this one is a very coming of age story where um, it really kind of, with the world and the premise, it kind of very much beats it over the head of like, yeah, the main character is growing up. He is becoming an adult. Um, his body is changing. um, and
So
and
is it about that is really like the core theme, you would say?
definitely, um,
Mhm.
amongst other things. yeah, it's very much sort of the main kind of theme is Sanda as a character kind of coming to grips with the idea of, becoming an adult in a world that kind of um, doesn't really appreciate adults, and how, he wants to become someone dependable, right? Someone that you can rely on.
Right.
And for, a lot of young kids these days, the idea of being someone dependable typically entails becoming an adult, right?
Mhm.
And so it plays with that quite a bit. And the idea of like being Santa Claus in his mind is like being an adult, but then he also has to realize that like he is he's not Santa Claus, right? So he has to grow up outside of
Right.
just being Santa Claus, right? He
Mhm.
has to be dependable outside of just being able to be this super strong, super muscular fucking old man. Um,
Mhm.
and so it plays with that. Um, Obviously, there are some motivations for the other characters. For Yamada has quite a bit going on. There's a lot going on with her because she's sort of she's very much an outlier kind of character. There's some um, there's a bit of gender identity stuff going on with her. There's some body, a little bit of body uh,
Dysmorphia.
dysphoria
Mafia?
stuff going
Dysmorphia?
on
Yeah.
there. Um, and um, a little bit of Yuri going on as well.
Mhm.
Um, and it kind of all is tangled up in this kind of world that is um it's very
You're not gonna
very on
believe
the
this.
it's
Next part.
very 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 on the nose. um so the world of Sanda is a Japan that has essentially um locked itself into a state of managed decline, right? And the reason it's done that is because the uh, working population has become so old and has aged so much um, that the youth is essentially like something to be cherished. And it's gotten to a point where the dynamic is adults sort of have to defer to children as a sort of um, like the adults have to respect the child.
Oh, because it's like
And
they're like almost like a precious resource.
yes, and it's gotten so bad, like the nation has sort of gotten so bad that the government has kind of set up the school system to be where children cannot sort of experience any sort of hardship or emotional they phrase it as like emotional trauma basically. um
Mhm.
and this is kind of a it's kind of like a ruse in a sense because it's like the real reason it's set up like this is kind of just so that because everything is kind of predetermined for the youth basically. It's like your spouse is a sort of like state mandated, like you're state mandated to be married, and the state mandates that you have to have a child. um and sort of everything is kind of in this managed um chart or course for you, like from birth, basically. Um,
Mhm.
and it's set up this way, kind of so like the youth are kind of like spoiled as when they're young, and then they're set up with all this stuff in the system to where they don't really kind of question like how the fuck has it gotten this bad kind of deal, right? Um, but yeah, it's very on the nose, obviously. Um, you know,
Yeah, I mean,
I,
it's essentially what Japan is going to be like in.
Yeah, I mean, if Japan doesn't change its course, like Sunday is basically saying like this is what is going to happen in Japan, if it doesn't change its course in terms of like the aging working population and the lack of birth rates and stuff like that. Yeah, it's very on the nose in terms of that sort of um, political messaging. But
Rhetoric. Yeah,
it is
yeah.
an interesting setup to kind of um, tackle the question of like, what does it mean to grow up in an environment where like youth is kind of treated as kind of just like a stepping stone into you working for the rest of your life, right? Like because everything is kind of just predetermined
Which
for
is a
you.
very realistic theme, right? If you think about it, like
Yeah, of
this
course.
setup aside, like the physical setup and the anime aside, like that sort of theme, like the philosophical theme is very realistic.
Yeah. And obviously there are some more fantastical elements to it, right? Like how the kids are sort of fed this kind of um specific diet to where um like it's so like it's kind of like full of nutrients, so like nutrient rich or whatever, to the point where like they don't need to sleep. And if if the children do sleep, they kind of go into this state of um like their metabolism speeds up to a rate to where like they are capable of like growing at like a rapid rate, to the point where like puberty can hit them um in like a single night, basically.
They're like essentially the Space Marines in like Warhammer, like
Kind
it's
of, yeah. And so
yeah.
like as a result, like the act of sleeping is kind of forbidden like in the school, because like um the idea is like they can't hit puberty before they graduate, because in the eyes of this kind of like society, like once you hit puberty,
It's
you've
over.
grown up, right?
Yeah.
um and you're like essentially on your way to becoming an adult already. um so yeah, there's a lot going on with the sort of idea of like growing up, and that is
Mhm.
very much the main premise. um in terms of like the Santa stuff, it's a lot of uh like the idea of like the youth being so kind of like the I guess the joy of youth being taken out of the populace so much, to the point where um the nation doesn't even celebrate Christmas anymore. And so the idea of Santa Claus has become like a lost like myth, basically. um and the like the way he kind of has to like power up in terms of like, getting stronger, is to kind of like bring um that idea of like enjoying your youth while you can, while also, looking to the future, um like back, right? Like the idea of, you know, being young while we can, while also, you know, uh, we're at the age where we do have to kind of look forward and decide who we want to become, right? Um,
Okay.
because they're established, like pretty much all of them are established as like 14 in this. Um, and so it is kind of at that age where kids are kind of playing with their identity and who they are and stuff like that. So um, but yeah, in terms of like it being a shonen, it's not really kind of like what you typically expect, because there's not like fights in this, right? Um, there's action and
There's
there's
like
like
displays of power, but it's not.
yeah,
Yeah.
there's action and there's explosions and stuff. But the first like actual like fight happens in like um I mean, I wouldn't even really say like the fight with like the Santa hunting guy is like really a fight. It's kind of just like, because they're kind of just like
It's like an
talking.
action sequence. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's like an action sequence where they're kind of just like talking at each other, and like they
and
are kind of
displaying powers randomly here and there. Yeah.
yeah. But the first like fight happens in like episode 5, right? Um,
Mhm.
and or is it 6? I don't even remember. I
It's
like just
6.
watched it. Yeah, it's 6, where because like the head, like the headmaster or whatever, or the dean or whatever, I forget his title, but he's like this 90-year-old dude who's taken like so many um like plastic surgeries or whatever to like retain the image of youth, to where like he doesn't even feel pain anymore.
Hmm.
And like that's the first like fight, which is kind of funny. It's like fucking halfway through the series. But yeah, it's very much not your typical shonen. It is kind of a lot of um, it is a lot of talking and like philosophy and stuff. It's very interesting to see a shonen like that. But yeah, it's good. I think it's really good. I think it sparks it, or it kind of has that really good balance between like the sort of outlandish absurdity of the kind of like situation of the world that it's set up in, and
Mhm.
kind of being very real, grounded, right? Because like I said, the
It's
situation
still
is like
talking, yeah, about the.
it's like absurd, but it is still very much kind of like um it is a very real commentary on like the state of the world,
Right.
especially in Japan, right?
Hmm.
Um and then yeah, it's good.
And not just in Japan, but it's like that sort of general. Okay, so we're just getting railroaded on this process to becoming like parts of society, right? Essentially, like
Yeah,
so. Now what? Kind of.
yeah. And yeah, I mean there's a lot of kind of again the idea of finding oneself, right? There are a lot of characters that are initially set up as very, they're kind of like uh sort of caricatures, they're kind of one dimensional, but then you get just a little bit of more screen time with them and you're like, huh, this character is actually a bit more faceted than they seem, right?
Hmm.
Like I think the most uh kind of like quick example of that is Nico, which is like Sanda's pre-established fiance, um, where she's really like initially established as a very sort of flippant, like I don't really give a fuck about anything kind of character. Um, and she kind of just um doesn't really give a fuck, right? And then with a little bit more screen time with her, it's kind of like she has this attitude because she's like, you know, the system is fucked, right? And the only time that we have to have a sort of devil may care attitude right now. And if we don't do it right now, when the fuck else are we going to do it? Right? Because as soon as we turn adults, like you're just like, you're only, the only expectation of you is to work, basically, right? To work and have kids. So, um, but yeah, I think the characters are all really, really good in this. Um, like even the like Santa like hunting like guy that's initially set up as kind of an antagonist is like almost immediately turned around and be like, man, yeah, like this guy's just a kid. Like I can't just like fucking shoot this dude, right? I gotta kind
Right.
of help this guy out. Um, and it's kind of like the idea of, you know, the the older generations, like their responsibility should be to, help the younger generation out, sort of, guide them along the the path of, finding oneself. Um, but yeah, it's good. It's definitely a lot. It's a lot more multifaceted than I expected from um, the series where a man turns into a naked Santa Claus, right? But
We also thought it would be a lot more just like action than it would be this sort of stuff, right? Because it's.
yeah, for sure. And I mean, to be fair, the PVs are. I mean, the PV is the PV, right? Promotional thing. Um, but
Mhm.
obviously, it's set up a bit more actiony kind of stuff. Um, but yeah, it's not really like that. Um, but it's like it keeps enough action to keep you, like, to keep your fucking ape
Awake.
lizard brain kind of
Yeah.
tuned in. Um, so yeah, I
It,
think
it, it doesn't
it's very
hurt
well
that
balanced.
it's Sai and Saru like fucking on their A game too.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah,
The
yeah. I
science
mean,
are and
the
Hitagaki
visuals are
Putter
very,
just like all kind
yeah,
of, you know, Both.
Yeah, the visuals are very, very good. I did kind of want to just quickly go over like a couple of the staff because I think
Mhm.
it's a little bit interesting that I think because the director he has really not done very much at all. Like he's been in the industry for a while
Okay.
as an animator, but in terms of like directing, um he previously directed Yude Deco, which I covered, which was a previous Science Study production. Um, and what else? I think he was like a co-director on like something like a while ago. I'm not finding it now. But yeah, he really has not directed much, but he's been in like an animator for over 20 years now. Um, and he's been a key animator working at Science Study for quite a while now.
Mhm.
Working on stuff like Devilman Crybaby and The Night is Short. Um, so he's got his drops there, and the scriptwriter series composition is Kimiko Ueno, um, who's quite a bit lately. I think most recently she was one of the two original creators on Zenshu, along with the script and series composition for
Oh,
that.
okay.
And she also, if I'm not mistaken, yeah, also was script for Yude Deca. So I think a good amount of this staff is probably, um, you know, uh, pulled together from the Yude Deco crowd.
Mhm.
But yeah, she's also worked on stuff like Carol and Tuesday.
Oh,
Um,
wow. Okay.
she did Brand New Animal, which is
So
a
she has a
series.
pretty good,
She
yeah,
also
she has
did
a pretty good resume all around.
script and series composition for a large amount of Tenjin
Yeah.
Meshi. Um, so stuff like that.
Yeah,
Um,
that's a very good resume all around.
but yeah, she's got a good track record, and obviously the animation staff on this are very, very talented. Um, but yeah, going over the audio visuals. Again, this is Science Audio. Science Audio recently. Um, again, they've done Dandadan, so they've definitely shown that they can flex their shit. With a lot of these more action oriented series. Um, previously Science Saru, I mean, again, they're a very talented animation studio, and they've always shown that they can do very good animation. But it's been more like slower, more drama stuff. So there's that. And again, the audio visuals here are um, they're pretty top of the line. I don't know if I would say they peak over something like Don Da Don. But they reach pretty close.
But
Um,
Yeah,
I mean,
I think the more interesting thing with this series is their ability to keep that quality, but also adapt like such a interesting style.
yeah.
um,
I mean,
yeah, I mean,
I think it's also their work with Sansaro,
Science Saru has
right?
always been
It's
the masters of like style, right? I
Yeah.
mean, Night is Short, obviously. I mean, very reminiscent of Masaki Yuasa's work on Tatami Galaxy. Um, and Heikemon Nagatari obviously had a very, very unique style. Um,
you know.
but yeah, this series has a very distinct style. Um,
I mean, it's also. I mean, the difference between Don 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 and this one is that like it's very clear that Science Star in this case is trying to keep as much of Itagaki Paru's kind of style as possible, right? It's very clear from
For
here.
sure. I
So
mean, even with Dandadan, they're very faithful to the manga style.
yeah,
Um,
I've never bet against Science Star. Like Science Star is a very like
yeah, for sure.
trustworthy studio. Yeah.
But yeah, the style here is very on point. The character designs are really they're very sharp. The eyes are very sharp. There's a lot of very um uh there's a wide sort of variance in how each character's like eyes are drawn,
Oh
and I
yeah, yeah.
think
Some have them like the dots, and then it's like the
yeah,
others
I
have yeah.
think the sort of the way the eyes are drawn on each character is like so. It's almost like you can kind of tell what kind of character they are without them
Right.
even like moving or speaking, just with the way their eyes are drawn. Um, and they keep that translated very very well. They do a lot of these really really good shots where they they kind of shift the color palette to just a very striking like black, white, and red. Um, and that's super stylish. They do a lot of really like simple, sharp lines when um, stuff is a bit more hectic. There's a scene where like a bomb goes off and Sanda kind of like just tanks it. He's like on fire. And it's a lot of very like solid colors with very like sharp, simple, thick lines.
Mhm.
And it looks very, very distinct. Um, yeah, it's just really good in motion. It's really clean. It's very consistent. The colors are on point. The character designs are very on point. Very faithful to the manga. Um, but yeah, definitely the like sort of I think highlight for the anime is kind of like the style and the character designs and how distinct everyone is just by like a glance. How some characters have these really big eyes with like kind of really small pupils, or they've got really big pupils. Some of them they don't even have the whites of their eyes like drawn. They're kind of like a almost like a
Like a
like
storybook type, like
yeah, or like a
Yeah,
some
yeah, yeah.
60s
style.
kind of cartoon little dot. It's
Yeah,
really
like some
cool.
Charlie Brown type shit.
Yeah. Uh, as for the music is pretty good. Does its job very well. I didn't notice too many like super standout tracks. Um, but you know, it it's definitely good. Like it's good. It's good OST.
Right.
Um,
Got like renditions of
the
Silent Night in there and shit. It's like
yeah
kind of the
yeah for
big
sure.
gimmick. So
Um, the OP is Adult Chick Children by Yama. It's a pretty snappy track. The OP visuals themselves are very very clean. Again, a lot of those black, white, and red visuals. Um, it's pretty good OP. I like it. Solid. The ED is Diary by Soshi Sakiyama. Um, it's pretty good. The visuals are pretty standard about what you'd expect for an ED. A lot of
Mhm.
kind of it's got this kind of um, oil painted kind of aesthetic. But in terms of like what you're actually seeing, it's mostly just still paintings kind of panned over the credits. The track itself is kind of like a bit of like a I guess jazzy kind of bossa nova kind of tune. It's pretty catchy. I like it. So OPED are solid. Um, and yeah, the audio visuals are very strong. Um, the voice cast is also very very strong. Um, you know, everyone's doing a pretty good job, I think. Um, obviously, you have Ayumu Murase as Sanda doing
Yes.
doing the standard young lad voice. Um, and then you have Hiroki Tochi as Santa Claus. He's doing the standard uh, loud, brash, sort of old man voice. I think
Mhm.
the big highlight here, though, is definitely Fuyumura, who's voiced by Umeka Shoji, who really does not have very many um, big roles at all. Um, this seems to be like her biggest role, at least in an anime. She does have a few more. I think she seems to be a bit more.
She's heavily in if you want Umeko Shoji, right? Umeko Shoji is like
She's a
so
bit
she's like
more common
on the
in
game oriented side.
yeah, video games and stuff. She's
Yeah.
in Fate Grand Order. She's got a few God Eater roles.
Yeah.
She's
I
in
Gozen
Wuthering
in
Waves.
Samurai Warriors,
Yeah, she's
uh
in the Warriors games.
Hanbei,
Um,
yeah.
but yeah, she doesn't have a lot of like really really big roles. This seems to be kind of like looking through her roles. This is kind of like her biggest role. and she does a really, really good job here. She's doing this
Mhm.
kind of, again, she's got a very deep voice. It's kind of this monotone, um, you know, almost boyish voice. And I actually, um, mistook her voice for what is her name? Um, yeah, for a brief second, for hearing it for the very first time, I mistook it for Ogata Megumi, and I was like, "Is that?"
Oh, yeah, because they both
But
have
then,
that sort of like
yeah, but
tomboyish,
then I
like
heard it a little
raspy
bit
voice.
more. Yeah, then I heard it a
Yeah,
little bit more, and I was like, "No, no, no." But yeah,
Wait a minute.
but yeah, she does a very, very good job.
Hmm.
Especially because Fuyamada is like, I think Fuyamada is the character that kind of has to go through like the most range as a character.
Hmm.
Just as the type of character she is, this sort of monotone, kind of um, almost intimidating without meaning to be kind of character. But then she's got this soft side to her that obviously she only shows to you know people she trusts or people she really cares about. Um, and then she's going through this arc where you know like the one person she really cares about most in her life is like missing and like declared dead. Um and so there's a lot of emotional moments with that character. And yeah, she does a very good job voicing like that. Um yeah, the voice cast does a very good job. Um and yeah, I don't know if there's too much else to say. I mean, this is just it is just a really good show.
Yeah,
Um,
and it's like, and I think the big thing is there's obviously it has like a lot of strong points, right? But the thing is, it's like there's no. It's been a while where we've talked about a series and we've just gone on about like all its good points, and we haven't really like. There's no like real bad points of the series, you know what I mean, or like super lacking points of the series, right? Like maybe you could
yeah,
be like, maybe I want to see a bit more action, like battle scene or whatever, right? But like that would be a very,
I think
yeah.
the biggest complaint I could make of this series is
Mhm.
it is slow to kind of onboard you, to kind
Mm.
of really
Mhm.
get that hook. Because in a standard shonen with this kind of setup where the main character has the ability to kind of power up, right?
Right.
To transform or whatever. Um, Usually the hook is like an episode one like battle scene, right? Where
Mhm.
you kind of show the character's like initial abilities and kind of how strong he is baseline. And there's some explosions here and there, and there's some screaming and whatever. Um, but this series really doesn't do that. Like the initial um Santa transformation, like he transforms and literally nothing happens. Like it's just like, oh, like I can do this, right? Um,
Mhm.
and then he transforms back into Sanda, um, and that's it, right? And then they
Right.
kind of have to um go from there. And it's an interesting kind of much slower kind of pull for a shonen series like this. Um,
Right. Right.
and you know that can be a critique, obviously. Um, Personally, I kind of fucked with it, but it was definitely odd to kind of just be like, oh, like he's just Santa, I guess, right? It
Right.
wasn't even
Right.
like there wasn't really that much flair to it at all. But yeah, it was interesting for sure. But
Mhm.
yeah, I think that would probably be like the biggest quote unquote critique is that it is kind of slow to really pull you in unless you're just immediately gripped by the characters, right? Um,
Mhm.
Personally, I wasn't super like immediately gripped by the characters. Like I like the designs for sure, but I wasn't immediately kind of gripped by just the basic personalities that they initially presented.
Mhm.
But yeah, it was a bit slow to kind of onboard you with that. But that would
Yeah.
be, yeah. Outside of
Yeah,
that,
that's a
like,
very like first world problem at that point. It's just like a
yeah,
very
like
yeah.
outside of that, it's like, yeah, you do have to watch more than one episode of this show to kind of get the the
Yeah,
gist of it, right?
like,
Um,
right. Because it just throws you in. Yeah, for sure.
yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I guess any last words, and what is your Mal rating for this series?
Near how strong is Sanda?
He's pretty strong. He's pretty strong.
Can he defeat? Is he a beast star level or is he what's his guy's name?
What, Baki? Or are you saying if it's like Baki level or what?
Yeah.
I don't know what that. They do kind of initially set him up as like he can't like die in terms of like conventional means. Like he can't be like killed, I guess. It's a better term. But he still feels pain, right? So, yeah. I don't know. I honestly think he'd probably get mocked in the fucking Baki universe because they're like they're out here being like, yeah, I'm like microdosing on bone fractures to harden my skeleton. So, you know, um, but yeah, he's probably like Beastars level. Although Beastars gets kind of insane at the end too. Um, but I'm sure he'll power scale up to a stupid level as well.
Mhm.
But yeah, in terms of like final words, I don't know. I feel like this, like, if I think if Science Saru gives this another core, or depending on how it wraps up, I think this could be like,
Anime of the year contender.
I mean, for sure, for sure. But I think this could, depending on how it wraps up, this could be like generational type anime,
Yeah.
like a Fooly Cooly level type anime.
And it's
Um,
like the type where it kind of like sneaks in, you know what I mean? It's like obviously you have like the flashy stuff at the beginning. It's like Itakagi Paru, Science Star, stuff like that. But it's like, and then you watch it and you think about it and you're like, oh, this is like better than I expected, even
yeah,
kind of things.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And I think it's not really like, um, it's not really like making super big waves because it isn't flashy like that. But I think this is one of those shows like it's obviously it's popular, right? Just because of the names that are attached to it.
hmm
Um, but I think as time goes on, people are probably going to appreciate this more and more. Um,
Yeah.
I think it's going to be one of those shows. Um, but yeah, this show's really fucking good. It's very, very good. Yeah, in terms of rating, I mean, right now, I give it like a 9.5.
Yeah.
I think it's really fucking good.
And this is just before like it even fully gets developed, right? Like that's
Yeah, yeah,
yeah.
um, yeah, yeah. I really can't. I can't think of really any reason not to watch this series. Basically,
Yeah.
like it is kind of one of those series. Like it is kind of like Free Ran, where if you like anime, um,
You should
like
watch
you should
this
probably
series.
watch
Yeah,
this series.
and
Um,
especially if you like if you're the type that's just like, oh, it's just all anime is just like slop all the time now, blah blah. Then it's like, why are you not watching Sanda? Essentially,
yeah, yeah.
right?
Because it's
Um,
fucking stupid. He turns into
So-
Santa
so-
Claus. That's fucking dumb, dude.
true, true.
But yeah,
So near is Sanda better than Elf?
I mean, he's stronger than
in what
Santa.
regard?
He's stronger
Yeah,
than Elf
yeah.
Santa, though they do work on
Um,
the same power scaling of based on your
yeah,
Christmas
believing.
cheer. So you
Yeah.
know,
Although I will say Sanda's power scale is a bit more conditional because they have to be sleeping, so
that's true.
they can't
Okay,
just
so-
raise their hands into the air and say I believe.
So can he beat Freddy Krueger if they're sleeping?
I, probably not. I don't
That's
know.
more of a
Pro-
Well,
More
okay,
of a
what
question
about?
for Zets versus
Yeah.
Freddy
I'm gonna
Krueger.
say that then. Yeah. Have you seen that post where it was Zets versus Freddy Krueger? That was weird.
Uh-huh.
And I wasn't thinking of I wasn't thinking of Elf, but apparently I was. I was thinking
Were you
of
thinking of the
Santa
Santa
Claus.
Claus?
Yeah,
Oh.
yeah.
Oh.
I mean,
Yeah,
Tim Allen Santa
anyways.
Claus is pretty strong.
Yeah. But yeah. Anyways, thank you very much, Nier, again for helping to cover this. This was something that we really need to get out of the way, just because it was one of the big series of this season, and I'm super glad that again, like at some point, right? Once we heard that it was by Itagaki Paru, once we heard that it was being done by Science Saru, we had some sort of like baseline stability, right? It wouldn't be like terrible. Like at best, it would be like mediocre, right? If
Yeah.
like iffy to mediocre, but I'm glad that it became such a good series like this. So again, this is Sanda, manga original by none other than our lovely Itagaki Paru, author of Beastars, daughter of the artist, of the Baki artist, and done by Science, adapted into an anime by Science Saru. A combination that probably can't ever go wrong unless something disastrous happens, or unless their budget is like $1. So
Yeah.
okay, if as Nier said, if you like anime, and especially if you're one of those people who are like, oh, there's just so much slop these days or whatever, take a look at this. You know what I mean? It's like there should be no reason why you're not watching this.